One middle-aged guy tried to work one thing out. One middle-aged guy tried to work one thing out. Hey folks, welcome to, well, they've heard the intro, you know it's just one middle-aged guy. And if you looked at the thumbnail or the image, then you know it's me, Dave. I'm not single, I'm married, but I'm the one middle-aged guy today talking to you about a little movie that I'm getting ready to go see. Yes, I'm recording this before I go see it. Thunderbolts, asterisk. That's the name of the movie, Thunderbolts, asterisk. Now, I'm recording this because I am excited about this movie, and I can't quite figure out why. If you've been listening to the show for some period of time, you know that Chris and I, to varying degrees, certainly more me than Chris, but started out enjoying the Marvel movies, the MCU, but as time went on, we kind of fell off. Chris earlier than me, but I stayed through all the way pretty hardcore until Endgame. And by that I mean seeing every movie as they came out, seeing them pretty much invariably in the theaters, and with few exceptions, seeing them on opening weekend. And then, that fell off, and I became less interested, and the Disney shows came, and they were not as good, and it got sort of there's so much content, it got diluted, and ultimately I just kind of lost interest. And there's several films, and certainly more even TV shows that I haven't watched. And those that I have watched since Endgame, it's been pretty spotty, sure. There's Spider-Man No Way Home, which is fantastic, but then there's Thor Love and Thunder, which is pretty darn awful, and Eternals, which is pretty bad. And then there's been some stuff that's sort of in the middle mediocrity, like, Shang-Chi, which was okay, but, didn't really feel like a Marvel movie. So I've been kind of out of it. I've been kind of not interested, dipping in a little bit here and there in the shows. I did like the Loki series, the first season. Didn't like it enough, though, to invest in the second season. I loved the Ant-Man movies, but I couldn't finish Ant-Man 3 when I tried to watch it on Disney+. Falcon and Winter Soldier, the TV series, was just okay, but at times infuriating. Recently, though, if you listen to it, to the show, I did go, and I got to go see the new Captain America Brave New World in the theaters. And I hadn't been to see a Marvel movie in the theaters in a while. I saw Wolverine and Deadpool, which was good, although I don't think it was great. I think it was good, and it was kind of an event movie, and I did go see it. And so I decided, my wife was like, we got to go find a movie to watch. Let's go see this. You used to be so excited about the Marvel movies. You don't seem to be so much anymore, but let's go give it a shot. So I gave it a shot, and you know what? It was pretty darn good. It wasn't great. It wasn't like, oh, this is like, Winter Soldier or Civil War level. Not even close. But it was certainly an enjoyable movie. And some of the overpacked, overstuffed, distasteful things about some of the recent Marvel offerings, that didn't happen. So I had a decent time with it. And I saw the Thunderbolts previews, and I was like, the Thunderbolts asterisks previews, like, that doesn't look that great. And then I saw the most recent trailer, and I was like, you know what? This looks actually really good. And that, in combination with enjoying the most recent Captain America movie, I got pretty darn excited. So I thought, okay, Thunderbolts asterisks, it could be good. It looks fun. It has some characters in it like Bucky, like John Walker, who was Captain America briefly in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and who is now, if you know the comic books, likely going to become some other character. I won't say the name. So I'm excited. And the real question about Thunderbolts asterisks is, I think there's a couple questions here. First of all, it got me excited enough to go see it in the theaters on opening weekend. So there I go, right? Crossed the threshold there that hadn't felt that big about a Marvel movie in a long time. Deadpool, Logan accepted. But the next question is it actually going to be a good movie? And am I going to enjoy it? And then beyond that, is there a possibility that this could bring me like the wayward son wandering away from the father? Could Feige have found a way to bring me back into the fold? And you know what? I won't know the answer to those questions until I go see it. So here's my little plan for this little mini short episode. I am recording this part now. I will stop. I will go see the movie, and I'll come back and I'll give you my spoiler-free thoughts when I return. There's one thing I can guarantee. We're going to the Alamo Drafthouse. The popcorn will be delicious, and I will fit as much of it as I can into my surgically altered tiny stomach. So, for you guys, it will be mere seconds, but for me, I'll talk to you all in a few hours.
TMAG Mini.
Hello. I will take 3 tickets to Thunderbolts asterisks, my good man.
You mean Thunderbolts, right, sir?
No, Thunderbolts asterisks. That's what the sign says.
TMAG Mini.
Hey there, listener. I am back, and I know what you're thinking. He didn't really step away. He's just pulling our leg. But no, I really did record that bit, left my home, saw Thunderbolts asterisk, took a little time to digest it and process it, came back home, and I'm recording this part. So I know the sorcery of editing would lead you to believe that I hadn't really done any of those things, but I swear to you, I'm telling the truth. All right, so Thunderbolts asterisks. Well, boy. So I laid out a couple of thresholds that I felt like I hoped that the movie could cross. And I definitely have formed clear, decisive views on both of those. But before I get into that, let me just also, I will state again, as I stated before, no spoilers here at all. In fact, I will say nothing or tell you anything that you would not have gotten from watching the trailers. So, just to be clear, if you're concerned about anything being ruined, none of that. But let me just give a little tiny bit of context, because a little background, because watching these Marvel movies, as you know, it can feel like you are piecing together pieces of a large puzzle. There's a lot of backstory, and there's a lot of things going on in this shared universe, and some of it you might have saw but forgot, or just simply haven't seen because of the amount of content that there has been over these past decade plus. So I wanted to tell you what I thought were the most important things to have knowledge of, to be aware of, to go into Thunderbolts asterisks with the best chance of understanding everything that's going on and getting all the references and just knowing where things are. I think that there are a handful of things that are pretty important. Those things, number one, I think, would be the Black Widow movie. The Black Widow movie came out during the early days of the pandemic. I think it got a very limited theatrical release, but it was also a Disney Plus movie. We watched it, though, at home. We watched it on its first couple days of release on Disney Plus. It was fine, not super memorable, but there are things from Black Widow that would be helpful for you to know going into Thunderbolts asterisks. And I think it's not like absolutely critical, but there would be parts of the plot that would make less sense, that would be less emotionally impactful if you didn't have at least a reasonable memory of the Black Widow film, its characters, and the things that transpired in and around it. So that's one, and it's the most important one. The second one, I think, fairly closely following that, would be The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was about the transitioning of the Captain America mantle, how that was handled, how it eventually ended up with Sam Wilson, the Falcon. And I think that you should definitely watch that as well. Again, nothing that's going to leave you scratching your head lost, but I think that the impact of some of the things that happen in Thunderbolts asterisk would be severely diminished, or you might even miss certain things completely if you hadn't watched that Disney Plus show. It's also not a bad Disney Plus show. It's not perfect, but it's certainly not terrible either. It's a little frustrating maybe at times, but definitely see those two, or have a memory of it. If you saw it but you don't remember it, like, go watch some YouTube recaps. I would say that those are the primary ones. Certainly seeing the recent Captain America movie won't hurt. Captain America Brave New World, but not critical. The two things I laid out for Thunderbolts asterisk. One, is this a good movie? Well, I am very pleased to say that it's not just a good movie, it's a very good movie. And really, gosh, maybe even a great movie? It surpassed my expectations. It is a movie that comes in at about 2 hours. It's got a ton of characters, but yet, for the most part, no one feels shortchanged. It's also a very, character-driven film. It's got a tight script. It's funny where it needs to be funny without being a comedy. It's serious and weighty in ways that you might not expect from a Marvel movie without, being overly dramatic. It's just really good. And every one of the performances is excellent. I should have mentioned Ant-Man is another one. Ant-Man 2, rather, is another one you might want to see. Actually, it's probably pretty important to see because there is a character in Thunderbolts asterisk which is introduced in Ant-Man 2 and only revisited, I guess, in the Marvel Universe. That at least I can recall them only reappearing in this new Thunderbolts movie, Thunderbolts asterisk. So, Ant-Man 2 is another good one to watch. So, yes, this is a good movie, good script, excellent acting on the part of pretty much everybody in the film. Everyone did a great job playing the characters, probably the best rendition of these characters that you've gotten to see. Maybe you could make an argument that Bucky was played better in Civil War, certainly in the second half, or maybe even in Captain America, or Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I would say he's easily as good here as he was in any of those other shows, and certainly everybody else. Man, they got their time to shine. So yeah, this is getting a solid out of 4 stars. I mean, this is getting 3.5 stars from me. It's just well done, fun movie with great pacing, not a boring, slow moment. The next question is, will this bring you back into the Marvel flock if you have found yourself getting worn out on these films? And I think that the answer is yes. I think that this has the potential to be a magnet for those viewers like myself who it just kind of like got, burnt out, a mixture of too much quantity, poor quality, and just not seeing anything new or not focusing on the things that I like from the MCU. I think this hit some notes that people will be very pleased that they hit. I would say that my only real criticism of this as a big part of the MCU is that it feels a little bit different than a lot of the other ones, which is good. It breaks mold. It doesn't follow any pattern. You can't point to any of the films and say it's kind of following the pattern from this movie or from that movie. In terms of an ensemble cast in a team film, it is nothing like Avengers. It is nothing like Age of Ultron. It is nothing like Eternals. It's really, gosh, I mean, I would say that the closest parallel in terms of team films might be something like X2, X-Men United. I realize that's not part of the MCU, but, it's certainly in terms of the tone that it strikes, it feels more like that than anything that we've seen from the MCU. So I will say that it certainly has that potential. The only sort of caveat, and I think the main criticism I have with the film is that it's tight. It comes in at about that 2-hour mark. There are some things they probably could have expanded on and gotten into some more of the details on. particularly around the antagonist of the film, who was handled brilliantly. And I'm not going to give too much away because, if you haven't seen it, I don't, like I said, I don't want to spoil it anyway, even if there are things that are in the trailers. But they probably could have given you a little bit too much detail without, putting a hat on a hat or repeating themselves. They could have told you a little bit more about the threat they're up against and some of the hows, because you'll probably have some questions that I think that even someone with familiarity of the comic books like I had some. But I was enjoying it so much, and I thought that it overall was such a great package and presentation that I was okay with that, right? Do I think it will bring folks in? Yes. If you are wanting the spectacle, the epicness of something like, of an Endgame or Infinity War or even Civil War, you're probably not going to get that, because this is a film that's a little bit smaller and it's a little bit more driven by the characters and what makes them individuals and what makes them work to the extent that they are a team or becoming a team. So, it's different than those films. I think spectacle is the word that I use, and I would stick with that. Endgame, Infinity War, those are big movies. Even Eternals, which I feel like is a big failure, was also a big film trying to tell a story that spanned millions of years in the Marvel universe and all that. And this film, Thunderbolts Asterisks, stays inside of a lane, and it doesn't try to tell a story bigger than that it could conceivably bite off. What it does do is it tells a more personal story. It tells it extremely well, and I say personal, it's dealing with a lot of characters. The fact that they juggled as many characters as they do without shortchanging any of them, and even the antagonist, who I felt like they could have done a little bit more fleshing out of. They didn't really shortchange him, right? They gave you what I think you probably needed to know to enjoy the film. But that said, it's really easy with a cast this big and his characters as interesting as they are, that you might say, wow, they didn't spend a whole lot of time with certain folks. They spent the right amount of time, and what they did very economically, and showing in a way that you got it pretty quickly without having to beat you over the head with a dialogue hammer, so you would get the point about where somebody is in their journey as a hero or a non-hero or a former hero or whatever. Really well done. I'm going to leave it at that. This is the best Marvel film that I've seen in a very long time. I would say Spider-Man No Way Home is or Far From Home or whatever, the last Spider-Man, one of my brain's kind of fried, is probably the last one that approaches this. And I would say that, even in the whole spectrum of pantheon of Marvel films, this is a top 5, top 6. It's really, really good. And it had no right to be this good, given the mix of characters and the sort of subject matter that they're hitting upon. Really surprised pleasantly what they were able to do. So if you're checked out on MCU, if you're burned out, if you just have been like myself, hoping for a way in, and maybe not super excited by the Fantastic Four, kind of leaves me cold looking at those trailers. Well, now I'm more excited for it because they made a great movie with the C tier characters. So I'm definitely ready for what Marvel brings next. So Feige, you brought me back in, man. Good job. And yes, the popcorn was excellent. First bowl was just okay. Second bowl on point, perfectly fresh, buttered appropriately. So no worries about that. That was the one thing I went into with a lot of confidence of. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me for what was for you all one short episode, and what for me was to micro episodes that I recorded about 8 hours apart. I hope you like this take. I hope you go and see Thunderbolts Asterisk and you enjoy it. And if you need to, get yourself recapped on some of that Marvel history. That way you'll get the most, I think, impact out of some of the scenes and the characters they bring, because it really is truly worthy of that investment of your time. Thank you for listening. Chris and I will be back at you with a normal-sized episode very soon. Thank you. Two middle-aged guys with an asterisk, which means there's just one of us, signing out.